Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series 86, number 29, Bumblebee. So this is Bumblebee as we saw him in that 1986 animated movie. So let's go ahead and bring that box in and take a look real quick. And you've got Transformers the movie up there. There's a big gaping hole. There's Bumblebee looking all heroic. He is 8629 Bumblebee. Over here, you've got that heroic Bumblebee look again. On the back, you have big screen inspired The Depths of Unicron. He converts in 23 steps, and Bumblebee is saved from the acidic insides of Unicron when Dana Witwicky comes to the rescue. Down here, you've got all your warnings, and you've got your sad baby. I think we all know why the baby's sad. It's because, well, he's afraid of Unicron, just like all of us. Over here is the close-up. Up here is the top. Down there is the bottom if you want to read it. And that's it for the box. Let's get it out of here and get to the meat of this. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box with Bumblebee, and this is going to be a brief segment because there's not a lot. So starting over here on the right, you've got your little sheet of warnings, and over here you've got your instruction booklet, and that leaves you with one accessory that we have here, which is his pistol. So let's take a quick look at that, and it is got a little bit of silver paint on there, got a decent amount of detail for its size. Here it is from the other side. You do have blast effect compatibility if you want to utilize that. So have yourself a party and a good time. And then you've got a little notch right there so you can store it in vehicle mode. But the only thing you're going to do with this is just plug it into his hand. So there you go. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and bring B in for his close-up, and we will start with that head. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good face sculpt right there. I think they did a good job. You got those nice blue eyes, you got that silver paint, got the horns. It's all looking pretty good. Turn it to the side a little bit so you can see what you got going on there. Yeah, not bad, not bad. He has a very big, broad chest. He's a very thick figure right there. But yeah, you got that Autobot symbol in the front. Got the top of the car. Coming on down to the waist area. You've got that gold crotch. Sounds like a villain from Austin Powers, gold crotch. And then you've got those legs. Not a lot going on here. You do have a little bit of sculpt work going on in there, but no real hollow areas or anything. It looks pretty good overall. And coming down to those kind of sort of Volkswagen Beetle feet. He is not a Volkswagen Beetle in this mode, even though he was in the cartoon. They just probably didn't want to pay the licensing. Oh, goodness, what do I have on my hand? Oh, no, I had something on my hand. Disregard that. Anyway, yeah, so... where was I? Oh yeah, talking about the feet. Yeah, so he's not a beetle. He's beetle-esque. And then right here on the inside, you can see what they've done as far as those panels goes. A little bit of a hollow area right here, but nothing real bad. I do like what they've done on the bottoms. So you've got these little areas that fold out when you bring him into bot mode. So he's standing on these, so he's not standing on his feet, so he doesn't have roller skates. Now, obviously, you could fold these back in, and you could have Bumblebee on roller skates. That's up to you. There he is from the side profile, so you can see, like I said, he's just a little thick in that chest, but not much of a backpack. I think he comes together looking pretty good. And while we're talking about it, just go ahead and give you that back view now. All right, and then starting on those feet for the side view, coming up, move that arm out of the way, you can see what's going on in there. So they did a good job of utilizing the parts and bringing everything inside out to make him look full and not hollow, which I do appreciate. And taking a look at him up here, coming to those arms, you can see he does use ball joints for those shoulders. Not a big fan of that, but well, I'm not going to fight it. And a little bit of detail in there. Here's the inside of the arms. You've got a hollow area right there. Not that big of a deal. Outside of the arms, backs of the arms. And then we already did the close-up of the back area, but there's that hatch. And you've got the Bumblebee butt. And then the backs of those legs. So yeah, I think he looks pretty good, actually. I don't have any major issues with this guy for a deluxe class figure. I think they did a fine job, especially considering they don't have the Volkswagen licensing on him. Now we'll go ahead and talk about articulation, which overall for this guy is pretty good. You do have some, starting with the head up here. He's on a ball joint, so you get a little range of motion here. A little side to side, a little bit of up, a little bit of down. It's just he's hindered by the geometry, but you're not going to get him to look way up. That's as far up as he's going to look. That's as far down as he's going to look. Now, if you wanted to cheat, you could pull this apart, and now he's, whoa, what's going on? Right in this area of my ginormous chest. You can do that with him if you want, and then it'll go all the way around if you want to. Shoulders, ball joints, you can go all the way around with them. You can bring them out that far. You've got bicep rotation right here, so you can go all the way around at that bicep. Elbow bend, you're going to get 90 degrees on that, and then you do have wrist rotation, so you can move those whichever way you want. Coming on down to the waist, you can go all the way around with that waist. Coming down to the legs, you'll see they used pins in those hips, and you're going to get, I'm going to call it, that's a Bumblebee Van Dam. I'm going with it. So good range of motion there, kicking forward. You're going to go that far forward. You're going to go that far back before you run into his hatch. If you move the hatch, you can probably get a little bit more. And thigh rotation right up here, so you can go all the way around with that thigh. The knees are pretty cool. They've got some hard friction stops, if you will, so they kind of lock into place. Not the easiest thing, and as you can see, those feet want to keep moving when you move those knees, so kind of put your finger back there, and then you can get 90 degrees of bend out of that knee. You can go that way too if you really want to make it unnatural. And then coming on down to those feet, as we already saw, because of those knees and how tight they are, which is not a bad thing, your feet can go down that far, your feet can go up that far, and then your ankle tilt is actually located right here at this pin, so you can get pretty decent amount of ankle tilt out of this guy. So he looks like he's getting down and grooving to some good music right there. So yeah, there you go. Pretty good articulation overall on this little guy. Not a lot to complain about as far as that goes. As we mentioned earlier, there's not a lot to talk about here as far as accessories. You're going to take the gun and you're going to plug it into his hand. And yeah, there you go. He holds it securely, and you can do that with it, and then you can do that with it. So there you go. Just no reason to celebrate it a lot. You can store it in the bot mode in the same place you do in the vehicle mode. You've got this little notch, or this little slot right there, and then you've got this notch on the pistol, and then you just line those up and plug it in, and yeah, there you go. Weapon storage. Let's go ahead and get the little guy transformed now. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little hatch and I'm going to pull this up. So you can see right in here, you've got those little notches right there. So these are just friction. So you're just going to grab that and give that a pull, bring all that up. The head's going to follow. And then what you can do is you can drop this chest area right there and then give B's head a pull. It's going to separate from that hatch right there, and then you're just going to tuck that away. So this is really tight. So you're just going to do that and then close that up. And now his head has disappeared. Oh my, what will we do? And then you're going to take those arms and you're going to give those arms that full 90-degree bend right there. Just kind of straighten them out. Do one of those right there. And then you're going to take the wheels. You're going to give this a pull. Bring these out. And trying to show you here, this whole assembly right here will come out just like that. Bring those arms back. You should have something that looks ish. All right, and then you're just going to rotate these 180 degrees, and then look at that, like magic. You've got kind of the rear end of Bumblebee all set. So I'm just going to tuck these away so you can see you've got these arms right here. You've got that notch and that slot and that tab. Just going to plug those in right there, and then you've got everything kind of lined up just like that. Now we're going to come down here and focus on the lower body. So the first thing that we're going to do is spread those legs out a little bit, and then we're going to disconnect these little skis. I'm going to call them skis. So just give these a pull. So you've got a smaller area right here and then this longer area. So just give these a pull, and you'll see how those will come apart. Then you're going to open this panel up right here, fold that ski in until it snaps in, fold that ski in, do the same thing over here, give that a pull, open that up, fold that up, close that up, and then you're good. Now, the instructions say to go ahead and put this together right now if you want to. I say I'm not going to do that yet just because it's going to fall apart on me as I try to do this anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these knees forward like that, and then I'm going to bring this assembly down like that, and then I'm going to tuck all that away so you're like that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So bring the knee up, bring this forward just like that. And then the next step that I'm going to do, this is out of order from the instructions. This is just what I do. You do what you want. You've got this little area right here. You can see that pin right there. That's going to be a point where that bends. And then you've got this tab and this slot right in there. And you're going to bring that in until that locks in. And then once you've got this, now I'm just going to rotate that leg up. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And now I'm going to bring these together, tab those in, and then these are going to fit right underneath that windshield area. All right. So once I've got it here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back hatch on, and then it's just a matter of a bunch of squeezing. So give that hatch a bend right there, push it in, bring that in, and then right back here, you've got right on those taillights, you've got that little notch on either side. Make sure that the arms stay together. And then this is just where it's an exercise in squeezage. So get that together. Make sure those are all squeezed together. Use the ground if necessary to give yourself a little bit of extra leverage. And I think we're done, other than maybe just a little squeeze here. And yeah, we are done. There you go. That is Bumblebee in his car mode. And now that we have him in that vehicle mode, let's go ahead and enjoy him a few times on this turntable without my hands in the way. So as you can see, I think they did a fine job here. It is definitely a kind of sort of Bumblebee alt mode from the movie. You know, it's like I say, it's not an officially licensed Volkswagen product, but they got pretty close to making him look like a bit of an amalgamation between Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, which works for me. I mean, this is just fine. He's got those little round headlights like a Volkswagen Beetle, and then he's kind of got that square area like a Cliffjumper back here. So yeah, it all works. I do like the fact that they've got the larger wheels and the smaller wheels, larger in the back, smaller in the front, just like the cartoon. And overall, I think it's a nice, cute little vehicle mode. It definitely fits Bumblebee as far as I'm concerned. So now that we've got a couple times around, let's go ahead and get that turntable out of the way. We'll bring him in, take a look at his details. Now with that turntable out of the way, let's bring Bumblebee in for his close-up, and we'll start right up here at the front. So you can see those silver painted headlights and that black bumper. Of course, you have the Autobot symbol right there on the hood. Coming around to this side. Yeah, he's cute. I like him. Get a little door handle right there, a little indentation right there on the hub. Tiny little mirrors. So there you go. Coming around to the back, you've got painted taillights, which I appreciate. You've got that notch right there for the weapon. And coming over to this side, it looks suspiciously like the other side. There he is from the top and from the bottom. So really about the only thing that gives it away here are those hands. Other than that, he comes together looking pretty nice. I do very much like these wheels. I just now noticed I got a little bit of a rough sprue, like from the injection molding right there. I didn't notice that until just now. Looks like I got a little bit of one right there as well. It does not hinder him, though. I mean, he does roll quite nicely. So one of the better rolling vehicles that I've seen in a while. So it's actually kind of fun to do. Let's stop. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the one and only thing you're going to do with that accessory in this mode, and that is plug it in. So you've got your little notch, your little slot. You're going to take the gun, and if I can do it on camera, plug it in, and there you go. So it's not the most elegant thing, but he gets the job done, holds it securely. It's not going to go anywhere, and it doesn't stop him from rolling. Whee! Whee! Where are you going? Whoa! Ooh, nice little burnout there. All right, so anyway, now that I'm just playing with him, let's stop that, and let's bring in some comparisons and see how he stacks up against some other vehicles out there. For our first comparison, here we see that Studio Series Bumblebee on the left, and on the right, is the Transformers War for Cybertron Core Class Bumblebee that was part of that Bumblebee and Exosuit Spike Wiki 2-pack. Moving on to our next comparison, this is the Transformers War for Cybertron Bumblebee in his fully licensed Volkswagen Beetle mode. And for our final alt mode comparison, this is the Transformers Legacy Animated Universe Bumblebee. That does it for the comparisons. Let's go ahead and get Bumblebee transformed back into his bot mode. The first thing that you're going to want to do, if you haven't already done so, is go ahead and remove that pistol from the weapon storage on the back of Bumblebee. Next thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to grab this hatch right here and I'm going to give this a pull and bring it up and out of my way, just like that. And you can see it's pretty easy. I don't mean this in a bad way, but once you start pulling on parts of this guy, he really pulls apart pretty easily. So not a complaint, not at all. Actually, it's totally fine. So next thing I want to do is I'm just going to grab right here and I'm going to give these a pull. And that's going to kind of sort of form those feet. And then I'm going to straighten out those knees. And while I'm doing that, that's going to come apart and that's totally fine. So that's going to bring that waist forward and then bring those knees up like that and then lock them into their normal position, just like that. And we've essentially got the legs formed at this point. So I'm going to split the feet and then I'm going to do all the magic up underneath here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little ski right here, or this little front piece of the ski, and I'm going to bring that up and you can see it's got the little tab on it. Next thing I want to do is I want to grab this piece of ski right here, pry that apart from the door panel, and then I'm going to swing that door panel in, and then you can see what we're going to do next. But what I do is I just put my thumb right there and then push that down, and then that make sure that I get a good solid connection there. Now, if you didn't want to do this and you just wanted to keep Bumblebee on skis or on skates, you could just do that. And then you would have Bumblebee right here where he's kind of sitting on that flat. If you wanted to roll him around, you could do this and then he'd be on roller skates. That's up to you. But let's go ahead and do him with these. So do the other side, lift that up, bring that around, and then push that in. And then, boom, just like that, you've got legs done. Fascinating. All right, so now I'm going to take those arms. I'm going to pull those arms apart. I'm going to swing them out on this big pin right here. So bring that out just like that. And then rotate these 180 degrees, just like that. And then you can bring these back in. And you'll notice that you have these little tabs right here. They're going to correspond to this little trough or this little slot area right there. So bring these back in and you've just got those soft stops. You'll feel them. And then you can see right up under here, we're just lining those up. Give those a little push into the right spot. And just like that, you've got that all completed. I'm going to go ahead and straighten his arms out while I'm here. You can do this later if you want, but I'm just doing it now. All right, so now we got to find that head. So turn him around and then bring this chest piece down. Voila, there is his little noggin. And then what I'm going to do before I go any further is I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to tuck it away right in that area. So I'm just going to hold this with my right hand, and with my left hand I'm going to push that up. Go ahead and close the chest up now, and then I can bring this down. And then as you bring this down, you'll see you've got these little notches right here. They're going to correspond to these tiny little slots right there. And when you bring this down, you're just going to spin this hatch. So it's about like that. And then you're just going to force it down until it clicks into place. Just like that on both sides. And with that, we have Bumblebee back in his little Bumblebot mode. For our first bot mode comparison, this little guy over here is the core class Bumblebee that came in that 2-pack with Spike Wiki for the War for Cybertron buzzworthy Bumblebee line. Next up, this is the Transformers Legacy Animated Universe Bumblebee. Our next comparison is the Transformers War for Cybertron Bumblebee in his officially licensed Volkswagen bot mode. Our next comparison is also a Studio Series figure. This was the Studio Series figure that was released for the 2018 Bumblebee movie. So again, Bumblebee in his Volkswagen Beetle mode. Well, the bot mode of the Volkswagen Beetle version. And moving on to our next comparison, this is also an officially licensed Volkswagen Beetle version of a Bumblebee. This is the Transformers Masterpiece MP21 Bumblebee. And last but certainly not least, this is the OG. This is G1 Bumblebee. That's it for the bot mode comparison, so let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. So there you have the Transformers Studio Series 86 number 29 Bumblebee. And I have to admit that I really like this figure. He's good at almost everything except for looking up, but we'll get into that in a second. But let's go ahead and quantify this guy a little bit, put some numbers to him, and we're going to start first of all with the overall looks, the aesthetic that he brings when he's sitting on your shelf. And I got to admit, the bot mode here looks really good. I do very much enjoy the way he looks. He's a little thick from chest to back, so he's got some thickness there, but it's really not distracting. I think he hides it well for the most part, so it does not detract from his overall looks. The alt mode is absolutely adorable. It's not a licensed Volkswagen Beetle, but it's close enough, and he just looks really good in that alt mode, and I just can't get enough of him in either mode, but particularly that alt mode I think is truly adorable. Is he 100% accurate to that 1986 movie? No, he's not, but he's still really good. I do very much enjoy the way he looks. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 for the aesthetic. Moving on to the articulation. Except for that limited head capability, he's really good everywhere else. So you've got just a little bit of motion in that head. You just can't get him to look up at any threats that might be coming from the sky. Everything else he does really well. Waist rotation, he's got plenty of range of motion in those legs, the arms, all that good stuff. So not a problem getting him into some cool poses. Just don't try to pose him looking up into the sky. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for articulation. Moving on to the accessories, or in this case, the singular accessory. It's his pistol, and yeah, I mean, it's good. It's painted silver, it's got some decent sculpt work in it. It holds in his hand well, so all that is really good. It's just not exciting. You know, that's the worst that I can say about it. I don't know what else to expect from a Bumblebee figure, but, you know, it's that. You've got blast effect compatibility, so that's a good thing. As far as the storage goes, bot mode, vehicle mode, it doesn't matter. It gets stored in the same spot right here on the back of the hatch of the car mode, if you will. So it is what it is. I'm not that excited about it, but I don't have anything bad to say. I'm just going to give him a 7 out of 10 for lack of originality, I suppose, when it comes to the accessories. So taking us to quality, this is definitely one of the better figures that I have gotten my hands on recently. Everything on this guy is super tight. He does everything the way he's supposed to do it. If you want to get real picky, when he's in his alt mode, there are a few panel lines here and there that just have gaps, just the way they're designed. And the color doesn't quite match from the painted areas to the molded areas, but that's the way it is with every Transformer, so I'm not going to single him out on that. But definitely some of the best quality I've seen in a long time. I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10 here. I have nothing to complain about. This guy does everything that he's supposed to do, comes together the way he was supposed to. Had all of his accessories, so nothing to complain about. 10 out of 10. So for our last bullet, overall value. I picked this guy up at a local Target. I was actually kind of shocked to see him on the shelf, but he was there, and I snatched him up. I paid the MSRP of $25 US. I don't have a problem with paying $25 for this figure. As always, I would like for them to be less expensive. The overall MSRP on deluxe class figures, I think, is generally speaking too much as it is. But this guy, compared to some other deluxe class figures that I've reviewed and gotten my hands on, this guy is definitely leagues above. He's just a lot of fun. He's easy to transform. He's just a fun figure to play with. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 on that overall value. Those 2 points missing just because I don't think MSRP on any deluxe class figure should be $25. But still, really darn good. I do want to point out one thing before I wrap this up. If I had a wish list, I would have liked them to have not used ball joints on those arms. They're nice and tight right now, but over time, who knows what's going to happen, but for now, they're really good. So that's going to wrap up the review. I hope you guys got some good information out of this. I hope you got some entertainment, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment if you feel like it, and one last favor to ask, if you know of anyone that would like the content that we make here, please share this video, share the channel with them. It's always fun to watch the community grow. So until we see you guys in the next review, take care.